And preferably walk around like this.
Here's
State.
And what was funny was, I mean, you know, you spend the whole entire life in Doc Shadows and, you know, it was decriminalized. It was a scary time. Like, so you like the Dark Shadows. So my friend is a real funny story. You have no idea, right?
Yeah, I mean, because no, we don't even get started until 9:30. She does 9:15. She does all the intro.
And she's got all the decks. So
Yeah,
I understand
Everybody heard it?
To Dakota. I'm trying to go visit now.
Yep, because this is how this got up here in July.
What about me?
This is the first time we can drive. I'm a great
All right, everybody. Good morning, good morning, good morning. If you can hear my voice, clap once. If you can hear my voice, clap twice. See, I teach school, so I know how to get people's attention, all right? Okay. We're going to get started. Our lead is not here this morning, so you know if you've been here before, this is 1 Million Cups. We normally have a whole slide deck presentation and tell you about 1 Million Cups and what we do and how long we've been here. We're going to skip all that.
Here she comes.
Oh, and here she comes. So this is what happens when I
skip it. Just keep it.
he can go. So this is what happens when I jump in. Okay. So instead of that, we're going to go ahead and do it in. Okay.
I always come in hot, sorry.
There you go. That's right. She always comes this hot. We expect that.
And I'm gonna.
Yeah.
She's the person. She's the leader. I'm gonna move out of the way. Yes.
Sorry, folks. I have a early morning commitment on Wednesdays, and I just too many things.
All good. All good. You know you're busy. We're all busy.
Well, we just started to introduce the guests. Is the slide presentation in?
There's no slide for you.
Oh, then why don't we just go ahead and do that Tower Chicken Rep and yes.
Yes.
This will be pre-covered.
We just covered you.
A lot of it.
Breathe. Great.
Yes.
Breathe. Are you ready to go, my friend?
All right.
You've been
Great.
ready to go for 15 minutes.
I introduce you to Mr. Walker McKay. He's going to have the floor here, and I'll let him introduce himself because I don't have a slide there.
All right. Well, thank y'all very much. I'm excited. I've known about 1 Million Cups for a long time. I'm ashamed to say I've not been to a meeting. Tom invited me, and I said, "How y'all want to come?" He goes, "Oh, I need you to speak." I'm like, "Oh hell, I need to speak, huh? Okay." But I to. I think it's funny to me that he described it to me. He said, you're part of the Made It series, or you're a Made It speaker, which means, I guess, that I've made it, which is hilarious to me, right? So I thought what we'd do, we got, Tom said, we've only got 3 hours, so we've done it at 12:15. I thought I would take half the time and talk to you about my journey. Tom wanted me to talk about that, and then I'll take the second half and we can talk about sales. Maybe some things that you need to have, some mindsets you ought to adopt, or that you need to adopt to be more successful at selling. My belief is, and I didn't make this up, but nothing happens until somebody sells something. Right? You can have the greatest business idea in the whole world, but nothing happens until somebody sells something. So, I was the short version, born in Columbia, South Carolina. Went to high school here, went away to college, was never coming back to this little 2-bit town. The reality was I was a very insecure person and a very insecure young man. I was undiagnosed ADHD. My mother gave me some of my report cards from middle school and high school probably 10 years ago. I was the very mature age of 50, and I read my report cards and it made me cry. Because the teacher said, Walker's not trying. He's not trying. I get 2s and 3s for effort when 1 was good, right? I get 2s when the teacher liked me, 3s when they didn't like me. Anybody here have the gift of ADHD like I do? Or am I the only one, right? It makes, it's funny, it makes a lot of us, a lot of people who are entrepreneurs have ADHD. Why do you think that is? Why do you think that is?
I feel like because entrepreneurs want to do everything.
We do.
So you try and delegate, and it's hard because you want to put a foot in everything.
Yeah, I want to do it. We also have a lot of ideas. We're very creative, right? With ideas and ideas and ideas and things. And I find that when I manage my ADHD well, and this is not to talk about intelligence because this has nothing to do with that, my brain is like a Ferrari. I mean, I can freaking go. If I manage my ADHD and I manage my other mental health issues, my brain's like a Ferrari. But left unmanaged, I'm going to smash into a tree pretty quickly. So I'm on my meds today. Everything seems to be cruising all right. If I get off topic, raise your hand and I'll get back on topic. Couple things. Please interrupt me and ask questions. Number 2, if you hear me say something about sales or about my journey that you just know I made up, or that you don't feel like that fits, call me on it. It's okay. And what I'd ask is this, and I hope this is an okay word to use in this room. Is bullshit an okay word to use in this room? Is that okay? All right. So here's what I want you to do. If you hear me say something that you say he made that up, that's not real, or that really doesn't make any sense, I want you to have the guts to say bullshit. And then I want everybody else to clap because they had the courage to do that. Cool with that? Here's almost practice. Opal, I want you to say the word bullshit and I want everybody else to clap. Go ahead.
Yes.
There you go. That's fine.
She's a Sunday school girl.
The name of my company is No BS Sales. I told my mother that stood for No Bad Salespeople, but she kind of knew that really wasn't what it stood for. I started in sales. Well, I started working for, maybe some of y'all might remember this, the old red CNS Bank, Citizens and Southern Bank, when we didn't have interstate banking. It was just in South Carolina. I graduated college and went there. Again, wild ADD, didn't know it. That wasn't nobody diagnosed that when I was coming along. Wasn't great at sitting still. College, I was not a great student. I was great at college, but I wasn't great at school. I had mediocre grades. And when I got out, all of a sudden I realized in my new job, I could learn things that were actually applicable. And that was interesting to me. All of a sudden I realized I wasn't dumb. I really could learn things that were applicable to what I was doing. And I went from banking to commercial real estate because I was making $18,000 a year in 1987, and a friend of mine who was a year older than me was in commercial real estate, and he came and deposited a check for $30,000, one lease deal. And I was like, I want to do what he's doing. And so it was a job I was wildly unprepared for. I was in sales, 100% commission. Some people were doing very, very well. I was 23 years old, undisciplined, didn't understand what it took to be successful, made a lot of excuses, and safe to say I flunked out of commercial real estate. After 11 years. It takes me a while to learn the lesson. I was, nobody would throw me out, but basically I starved myself out of business. Be back up, it's not exactly true. So I was doing okay, fair, mediocre, thought I'd be doing better. A friend of mine hired a sales coach. And he told me how much he paid the guy, and I was like, oh my God, you got ripped off. That's crazy. I've heard his ads on the radio. There's no way you're going to get your money back from that. You're dumb. This is Blake Evans, by the way. Yep. And so I said, you're dumb. And he said, no, this is great. I think it's going to help me. Well, I went to go save my friend. I called the sales coach myself, my brash little 30-year-old, maybe younger self. And I said, my buddy Blake has hired you, and I think he got ripped off. How about me? Arrogant little jerk that I was. I think he got ripped off. I want to find out more about what you do. So I said, great. That's awesome. So we talked for a few minutes. He said, oh, you're in commercial real estate. You must be making $1 million a year. I'm like, oh, no. He said, but 500? And I said, no. He said, 250,000 a year. And I said, maybe next year. He said, why not $1 million? This is again, probably $1992. And I said, well, I mean, we're in kind of a recession. Plus, I'm in commercial real estate in Columbia, South Carolina, not a lot of business here. Plus, I've only been doing it for 9 years. Plus, I don't really play politics in my big company, so other people get the good leads. And I looked up, and he was doing this. And I said, what? He said, suppose I told you I thought those were excuses. I was stunned. And I flashed hot for a second. I was mad. Flashed hot. And he said, where else are you making excuses in your life? And it was like he'd taken a hot knife and run it through me. And I had to make a choice at that point. One temptation was to stand up and get the hell out of there because he'd insulted me. The other was to understand that that may have been the best gift I've ever gotten. That he took the time to say those were excuses. And I have found in my life over my 60 years that the places where I've made had the most growth were when somebody had the guts to call me out for excuses I was making. I'm an A+, 100%, world-class excuse maker. I'm learning to recognize them. I'm learning to get ahead of that. But anything where we become a victim is an excuse. In this country, the United States, we have the ability to choose. We have the ability to choose and do different things, and that was what I needed to know. I am not a victim. So I hired him that day. I wrote him a check for $2,000, which bounced, by the way. I paid him, and I hung on his leg because I sat in his class and he talked about the psychology of selling. He talked about questioning strategies, about asking questions, about understanding why somebody would really do something. He taught me about going on a sales call to learn as opposed to convince. All of a sudden, it was like the scales from my eyes fell off. I all of a sudden looked, I was like, oh my God, he has given me the keys to the kingdom. Once I understood the psychology of why people do things and how to have real, direct conversations with people without all the BS. So anyway, I wanted to eliminate my excuses, so I quit the big company I was working for, and I started my own firm. Did real estate consulting, and I liked working with buyers. People who were users of buildings, there were doctors' offices, they were sometimes investors, there were others who wanted somebody to represent them in their transaction. Long story short, plenty of people wanted to look at buildings, not as many wanted to buy them, unfortunately. So I chased a lot of deals, and my sales coach, who I was still working with, said, "How much do you charge people to take them on as clients?" I said, "Nothing. I get paid when they buy something." He said, "Why don't you charge people?" And I said, "Because that's not what we do in our business." And he asked me again, "So why don't you charge people?" I thought, son of a bitch, why don't I charge people? So I went to one of my clients, somebody I was talking to, and said, "Hey, I've changed my business model. When I work with people, I charge $5,000 up front. Allows me to do blah, blah, blah." And the first person who I've been working with said, "Thanks, no." And the next 5 people said, "No." And then the 6th person said, "Wow, I had no idea a service like that existed. You would help me with that?" I said, 100%. And you know what's crazy? Was I think the year before I sold 2 or 3 pieces of property. I had a 72 that I had started a transaction with. One, because they were, these are people I started just showing around, right? But the next year I had 6 paying clients, and they bought 7 buildings. That's pretty good. And all of a sudden I was an advisor. I was no longer just peddling something. Anyway, I loved my coach, and he came to me one day and said, "Will you work with me? You've got the mindset. We're growing our business. I want to grow from here to Charleston and Greenville, and I need somebody like you to help me do that." And so I was like, "Yeah, that's crazy, but I'm going to try that." Amazing how fast you can go out of business if you want to. So I called my clients, said, "I'm done, moving on." Went into this crazy sales training business, because how hard could that be? I loved the product. I was the product. And it was hard as hell. Like everything, whenever you think it's easy, tell me if you've experienced this. Whenever you think something's going to be easy, it just means you don't understand it. Does that ever happen to you? Because it happens to me all the time. How hard could it be? So anyway, I worked with him for 11 years. I built the business up. We both made a lot of money. It was great. But the problem, the last couple of years, we were banging heads. He would do one thing, and he was the senior. We were kind of partners, sort of, kind of. But he was always 51%. His decision went, and I felt like, what I realized pretty quickly, or after 11 years again, that I'm not very good at being number 2. I know what number 2 means, and that wasn't me. And so I did the dumbest thing I've ever done. Probably. I went home to go talk to my wife, and I said, "You know how miserable I am. I'm making lots of money. We just built a beautiful house, over leveraged. And I hate it. I'm going to go start my own thing. I can do this." Well, I had a 3-year non-compete. It was kind of a problem. So I went I went out on my own, and I said, "I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what I'm going to do. Maybe somebody will hire me. Maybe I'll get a great job. Maybe that's great. But for 90 days, I'm not doing anything." Well, the good news for me was nobody asked. There were no offers. I realized I'm unmanageable, unhireable. So I knew if I was going to do something, I'd do something on my own. I had a 3-year non-compete, and so I went out and I said, I'm going to go. One of my old clients called, and I couldn't do sales training. So they said, "Walker, you did sales management training for us. I hate sales management. Can we hire you? I can't hire you full-time. Can I hire you as a part-time kind of fractional VP of sales? Will you run my sales team?" I said, "Okay." And he said, I can't pay you full, but I can pay you about what you get paid. I think it was like $6,000 a month, which wasn't enough to pay my bills, unfortunately, but it was a good start. And then miraculously, somebody else called. Same deal. And then, anyway, so I started doing that, and there were several problems. One, it was not scalable. I needed about 4 clients to make it worthwhile so that I could pay my bills, get where I needed to go. My wife was at home. We have 2 kids at private school. I had this giant mortgage. I needed 4 clients at any given time to be able to make it work. And every time I got to 4, one would let me go. And then the second. And then the third. And so it was like this whipsaw of stuff. And a friend of mine, I mean, it was brutal. And not only was I not good at it, it was a terrible business model. And so I had a friend of mine call me and say, when are you going to get back into training? That's your love. And I said, well, I got this 3-year non-compete. He goes, you've been out 2.5 years, it's 6 months away. Why don't we start planning it now? He's a great friend. I said, well, I don't have any material. He goes, you've got 10,000 hours of material in your head. You've told me that a bunch of times. Okay. And I said, I don't have any money. I'm broke. I need a training center. He said, do you want to sit there and make excuses? Or do you want to start something good? I was like, shit. Happened again. He had the guts to call me out on my excuses. I said, I want to do this. He said, this is 2016. He said, you ever heard of Zoom before? I haven't. He said, it's a video platform, costs whatever, $20 a month. You can do your classes there. So we started working on material. He was great. Helped me with marketing, helped me put stuff out about it. And I made what I decided, because I never think big enough. I always think small. What I decided was I was going to create a sales training program that was something I wished I had in my early 20s. In my mind, it was teaching people the psychology of selling, teaching a system, and make it affordable and scalable for me. Because I could have 5 people on Zoom, or I could have 500 people on Zoom, in theory. And so my idea was 1 class a week. I would teach a subject, I was teaching a process, right? So I'd pick a topic, I'd teach that topic. I made it no contracts. People could pay $97 a month for as long as they wanted to stay. I thought I could get up to a couple of 100 people. Well, I got to about 30, and it kind of leveled off. It was kind of like my outsourced VP of sales business. I'd pick up 3 or 4, and then 3 or 4 would drop off. And so I was kind of stuck in this not enough money thing. But I was getting good feedback, and I knew the material was good. And then one of my clients came to me and said, hey, will you, can you do this for companies? Like, we've got a sales team of 10 people, and we probably would want our own private class. Can you do that? I was like, duh, yes. Why did I think of that? So I got 1 client, corporate client, and they paid me $6,000 a month. Here I am again. And then all of a sudden it grew and grew and grew. But the thing is, I expected, I don't know if y'all have had this experience, I figured it would take me 1.5 years, 2 years to really get this thing rolling. If I'd known how hard it was going to be, if I'd known we were going to have to sell our house and move to a little rental house, if I'd known my wife's going to have to go back to work, if I'd known how much debt I'd have to take on, if I'd known the emotional toll that it was going to take, I never would have done it. I wouldn't have done it. But now, after doing this for 10 years, I'm glad I didn't know. Ignorance is bliss, right? If I'd known how many times I get kicked in the teeth, I had a, I don't know how this happened, but somehow my water bill at home, I don't know if I'd missed payments or if we'd had a leak. I don't remember the situation, but I had a $600 water bill. Shit, I didn't have $600 for anything. I had to go to my across the hall neighbor in the office, friend of mine, and I said, I'm in a terrible spot. They're going to turn my water off unless I have $600.
He gave me $600. I'll never forget it. I paid my water bill. It took me a long time to pay him back. I had another client that hired me one-on-one. I was charging him $1,000 a month, I think, I was stunned anybody would pay that. I worked with him one-on-one for 6 months. He paid me in advance. And when we finished 6 months, he goes, I think I'm good. And I'm like, no, you're not. You need help. We're just halfway there. You need some help. And after a few minutes, he said, do you need the money? And I was like, oh, shit. Yeah, I need the money. He goes, I'll pay you. I'll write you a check. He said, don't do this to anybody else. I was like, it's desperate. So over time, I have taken steps. There's a guy that I was following on social media. I don't know if this ever happened to you or not. A guy I was following on Instagram and then on Twitter, X, who every time he spoke about growing a business, he was talking to me. Every problem that he would talk about, I was like, how does he know that's what I'm dealing with? And I watched him for 3 or 4, his name was Hank Norman. I'd never heard him before, nobody else heard of him either. But every time, he's a weird looking dude, had a scruffy beard and wild ass hair. And one day I said, I'm gonna call him. I sent him a message on X and I said, I need to know what you know. I need to be able to talk to my clients for marketing like you've been talking to me. Long story short, he said, let's get on the phone with my business partner. So I get on the phone with the business partner a couple of days later. These guys are in New York. I didn't have any money. And I said, I don't care how much it costs. Because I don't have money anyway. 5 minutes. Damn. You said an hour. Is it half an hour? Okay. I'll be done.
We save time for Q&A from the group. So
Perfect.
you don't speak for an hour, but we need
I got it. Perfect. Thank you for telling me. Appreciate that. Thank you. So he told me the number. It's $20,000. I didn't have $20,000. I needed $20,000. Problem with being my age was that the banker will tell you yes. But I knew if he would teach me what he knew, I could make it. That was another one of those keys to the kingdom thing. I had to spend money. And so he taught me, how do you talk to your audience so that they believe you're the only one they're talking to. Worked with him 3 years, started a podcast, created a course, and again, took a long time, continued to work, invested money, ended up writing a book, which is a 3-year process. Don't ever write a book to make money. You will never sell enough books to pay back, even if you write it yourself, unless you value your time at like minus $500 an hour. But anyway, over time, this year, I've been through a lot of, heard a lot of struggles, drinking too much, had real depression problems, all that kind of stuff. I worked my way through it. And today, I will tell you, somebody said, what makes you great? What makes you think you're great at what you do? Is that what you said? What was your question?
Yes, sir.
What makes you great at what you do? And I said, I don't think I am. But he said, your confidence, your chest is out. I said, it's because I've had my ass kicked more ways than most people can imagine. I've been humbled by my mistakes. I've been humbled by other people. And my business at this point, so I'm 60. A lot of my friends are trying to get out. And I'm having a really good time. I feel like what I was put on this earth to do was to teach people the stuff that I know, to give them the keys to the kingdom, to help them be more effective at selling without all the BS. And so I hope I can do this another 10 years. And I realize the cool thing with business is it changes all the time. This AI thing is going to be tremendously disruptive to my business. I know you're working on that, you're helping people. So I want to be as up to date as I need to be to help my clients stay ahead of that as well. So about 5 minutes are up, right?
Well, you had 3 more, but
3 more. Let's do this. So at this point, let me give you 4. I'll give you 2 of the 4, maybe hit some others in the questions. 2 of the 4 mindsets that you need to have to be a top producer in sales. Number 1, you're not the right fit for everybody. you're not the right fit for everybody. Even if people have the money, need you badly, you're not the right fit for everybody. Why is that? Some people don't share your values. Some people are difficult to work with. Some people don't have money. By the way, trade is great, but that don't pay the mortgage. Some people will suck the life out of you, right? Or every time you deal with there's drama or problems, that kind of stuff, not worth it. Focus on the clients you can do the best job with, right in your sweet spot. I don't have time to dig in that more, but that's kind of a thing. The second one I'll share with you in my last minute is ask, don't tell. I mentioned it earlier, your job in sales is not to convince. Your job is to understand. People say, gotta educate my prospects. There does need to be education during the sales call, but the person needs to be educated is you. For you to, my belief is nobody can see that we're better until they see that we're different. And if we go with the same approach as everybody else, which is, let me give you 3 reasons why you should buy from us. We've got better people, better quality, better service. Guess who else says that? Everybody else. If that's the way you're approaching people, they think everybody's about the same. Let me get 3 prices, because everybody says the same thing. They must all be the same. Some people have to pick the lowest price. Those are the worst. You don't want those as customers. The others, they'll look at the high price and say, that might be better, but I don't want to be dumb and pay the high price. I'm going to see if I can beat that guy down to the middle price. If I can beat him down, I'll hire him. Otherwise, I'm going with the middle guy. Think about your business. Is that the right way to pick? So I do what you do? Ask. Go to learn. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so we're going to begin. So if this is your first time here, I'm sorry I didn't get to go through my spiel. But thank you. Those of you who are used to being here, we brought Walker in today to give a presentation and as well to give a little education. That's why we let him talk for 30 minutes. Normally, for those of you that are brand new, our presentations only last 6 minutes, and we use the rest of the time for Q&A. So just for those that are regular in the room wondering why he's here for educational purposes as well as to talk about his journey. All right, so now I'm going to open up the room. We've got questions for Mr. Walker. This is your time to ask him all
What's
of the
your
things.
question?
Bob's hand went up real quick.
Bob, what you got, buddy?
Thank you, Walker. I appreciate this. Now, you're more on, I get the impression you're on your strength is sales and negotiation. Okay, at least 3 of us back here are kind of like the we buy houses kind of guys.
Yeah.
Okay? And with all the cold calls and whatnot, I still think cold calls can be effective.
I agree.
But how do you set yourself apart from the spam cold callers and whatnot? And also, well, I mean, there's at least 3 of us back here, Ron and Kevin also. Technically, I compete with them.
Yeah.
And technically, we also collaborate.
Yeah. There's plenty of business out there is what I hear you saying, and I agree with that, right? There's tons of business out there.
How would I set myself apart from these 2 guys? Because I want the deal before they do.
Yeah. Well, how are you different?
You know, I'd like to think I know a little bit more. If someone's in, we target the people who need someone like us. Pre-foreclosures, code violations, probates, things like that. Okay. So we're not just targeting the general public. Like Tara specializes in people who want to sell, but don't necessarily need to sell.
Yep.
We specialize in people who need to sell.
I want you to picture your ideal prospect, right? The person that needs to sell. And they have come home from work or whatever, and they're on their back porch, and they're drinking a beer, and they're mad because they're either not working with the right real estate person or they don't know who to call, okay? And their neighbor goes, hey man, what's up? And they want to explain to their neighbor in their terms what's going on. No buzzwords, no nothing. They would say, I'm frustrated because what?
Cost of living has gone up.
And I can't afford to stay in this house, and I don't know what the hell to do.
Yeah.
One. What's another thing they would say?
I want to get out of this town. I just want to sell the house. Or
And
I just inherited a house.
I just inherited a house. I don't want to move into it. I'd rather have the money. There's a lot of work that needs to be done. How in the world will I get rid of it? Right?
But that's what they're going to say too.
It's fine. Here's what I want you to do. Instead of describing what you do, describe the person that you want to work with. Here's what they say. They're frustrated because they've got a house, their cost of living's going up, they can't afford to be in it anymore, they need the money now. Or they've gotten some code violations, things are broken, and they're like, oh my God, I can't put more money in this money pit. Who can take me out of this? Or they've inherited a house from their mother or their parents or their aunt, and they're like, Lord, this thing needs work. I don't know what to do. That's what I want you to tell people. Hey, look, we're not right for everybody. Typically, the people I work with are saying one of these three things. Any of that stuff relevant to you? If they don't, if it's not relevant to them, move on. Make sense? You want to find that you solve a problem, but they've got to admit the problem. So we can say, here's some examples of what other people do. The other people that hire me are saying things like this. Make sense?
I think so. Thank you. That helps.
Okay.
A lot.
Who else? Yes.
I guess in the sales business, it's kind of like sports. You know, you got these big egos, and everyone's trying to compete.
Yes.
And you try to keep it like in a healthy way. I even skipped a couple of meetings. I used to come here like every meeting, but we're facing a problem right now with I work in the medical sales, medical equipment, and it got to a point where like everybody wanted a cut from the commission, because
like your buyers did,
no, like the sales team, marketers, even got to the point where well, they'll sell an elevator, you know, that's $50,000 for an elevator, but our technicians were like, hold on a second, I'm the one doing all the work. Well, they're gonna get the commission. So, or it got to the point where like, because they were on the phone, you know, helping a customer, maybe they needed something, a customer walks in.
And then somebody else takes it.
And it's like, oh, you know, no.
So what's your question?
How do you like balance? I mean, obviously right now it got to the point where like, that's why I kind of like missed a couple of meetings, because we had to put a stop in the commission.
Yeah.
Just to like figure out.
Are you the leader of the company? Are you the owner of the company?
No, my uncle is. I'm a management analyst. You know, I basically I started as marketing and
Who's the only person in the company that can fix this?
The owner.
The owner.
Right. And so does the owner care?
Correct.
Does he or she?
We do. No, he cares, but you know the whole business started because he saw a lack of medical equipment.
Yeah.
And he just wanted to help.
Yep.
But now you got to the point where like, you know, you got the sharks, which we're obviously very grateful that they're here, they're growing the business, they're selling.
Yeah.
But now it's like, okay, like, I mean, we even got a guy, he walked in, he's like, yeah, I sold 3 elevators. And we're like, oh, this is great. But it was to the same person.
Okay.
You know, so it's, but
I mean, like one person that needed 1 elevator sold 3?
Well, it's like,
that's gonna be a hell of an install.
it's like, well, this guy has a BA, is in a BA program, so BA accepted it, but but at that point it's like, okay, this person only needs 1 elevator, so we sat down to kind of like do the training. But my question is, how do you deal with like, you got these sharks, everybody's trying to get paid, and they're competing.
Yeah.
And you want to do, you know, obviously recognize what they're doing.
That's probably a longer conversation, but here's what I would tell you. That's a culture issue.
That's a core values.
That's core values and ethics. I don't believe in, and I know this sounds funny, one of my core principles is in sales, to be the guide and not the hero. Our best salespeople are guides and not heroes. Let me explain that. There's a book by Donald Miller called Story Brand. If you're involved in marketing or sales or whatever, it's a great book to read. He talks about the power of stories. We all kind of heard that before, but he really breaks it down, and he pulls out the different characters in different stories. And among the characters, he said many stories will have a hero at the beginning of the story. Hero has a problem he's trying to solve. And then there's often a guide, which is an older, wiser person who kind of whispers in his ear, doesn't want any credit, lets the hero do his job, lets the hero win, right? A lot of people go into sales, like you talked about, because they want to be the hero. I saved the day, I made the sale, I rang the bell, I kicked everybody's butt. Heck yeah, look at me, right? What's the problem with the hero mindset? What happens if you don't make this sale? What are you?
Losing.
You're the loser. Nobody wants to be the loser, right? And so they'll chase somebody too long, or they'll pressure them, or they'll hammer them. Not a great business model. Not good. They'll cheat from other people because they got to win. Got to be top. And again, all about competition. Healthy. But, so what I've talked to my clients about, this was a subtle shift I've picked up over the last 7, 8, 9 years. When I read that, I was like, you know what? Great salespeople, the sale is never about them. Sales, I want my customer, and I want my clients' customers, I want them to be the hero for making the right decision. So here's what a guide, this is what a guide does, right? A guide, hero's got to save everybody. A guide chooses who they work with. They're particular about who they work with. They want to find out what is the client's goal. Where are you trying to go? And they go, am I the right guy to do that? What are the problems I have to overcome? A guide can do one thing for one person, one thing for another. Now, I'm not suggesting that we all create custom everything. I don't mean that. But what I want to have, so, quick story. I go fishing up in Maine every year, get ready to go in about 3 weeks. First year we were there, we had a fishing guide, we go trout fishing, way up in the middle of the woods. I had a fishing guy, his name's Gary. Gary's great, old Maine guide, and we showed up first day, and he goes, all right, we're going fishing in the morning. That's the instructions we got. So we get in his truck, we ride off, and we're fishing in a pond that he wanted to fish in. He goes, I've got a 55 trout average in this pond. We got to do better than that. I had a couple of losers, last couple of groups. They couldn't catch enough fish. We got to beat 55. Okay. So we're out there trying to, we're not great fishermen, right? We're out there trying to fish. Gary'd say, cast over there. Fish would bite, I'd miss it. And he'd go, what's wrong with you? Catch a fish, he'd go, see, I told you. And we got towards the end of the day, the first day, like 4 o'clock. He's like, man, the bite really kicks in about 7 p.m. I'm like, 7 p.m.? You've lost your mind. He goes, no, man, we're only at 46 fish. We got to fish till probably 8:30 so I can get my record the way you lug nuts are fishing. I was like, I'm not doing that. Take us home. I need a drink. I've had enough of this crap. So the next day, so he's like, oh, they want to go home. Oh, my God, they're running my record. Next day, basically same thing happens. Anyway, it was kind of funny, but it wasn't that funny. You know, he was a character, and it was fine, but whatever. So next year we fished with him again. The third year, he was guiding somebody else. I guess he got tired of our crappy fishing. And we had a guy named Pete. And Pete met us first day and said, hey, do you mind if we sit down and talk? Sure. He said, tell me something. He goes, y'all prefer fishing in rivers or fishing in ponds? We're like, there are rivers with fish up here? And he goes, yeah, there are lots of them. We go, Gary said there were no fish in the rivers. He goes, that's because Gary hates fish in rivers. Oh, we'd rather fish in a river. Okay, good. And I have some clients who want to fish from sunrise to sunset, which is 10 o'clock at night in May. I got others that kind of come here, they're here to relax. They will leave about 10 o'clock in the morning, be home for happy hour back at camp. I was like, happy hour about 4? He goes, perfect. And so when I go fish with Pete, he's like, cast over there. So I cast over, miss a fish. He goes, okay, let's try that again. I catch a fish. He goes, way to go. Mm-hmm. Hero versus guide, right? I want you to focus on understanding what's your client looking for. Y'all have, and I don't mean to poke or whatever, we need to have a long conversation, but it sounds like a culture problem that needs to be solved. Yeah, and maybe you've got some of the wrong people.
Yeah, I guess we want to go back to the commission. Obviously, we want to reward people, but it's at times just the process has to go from the people that put the paperwork. They get it from the doctors.
Yep.
Put it on online.
Yep.
Then the salespeople get it, but then let's say these people are like, hold on a second, I'm getting the paperwork.
Yeah.
And you just close it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, right.
Well,
I
we gotta
can
get
share.
to a couple more.
Yeah,
Yeah,
let me
please.
just say this real quickly. My team works on commission, and one of the biggest things I have to do, make sure that everybody understands how they get paid, what they get paid on. And we can have a longer conversation if you're curious how my commission structure works and how my team participates. So I don't have inner squabbles because everybody understands how
Good.
they get paid. And I'm happy to have that if you want to.
Perfect. Anybody else have a question? Yes, ma'am.
That is a new corporate. Everybody do want to get paid in whatever they can.
Sure.
Okay. I had a young lady text me to have this big office space, and she wanted to hire us to do catering. But her thing is that she wants 20% of whatever we do. So that's basically like our gratuity fee. So that's the new movement that they are doing. Everybody.
So people, so this must have been an event planner
Yes.
who wanted 20% off the top.
They
Okay.
actually own the space.
Okay.
So if they hire, they have a list, I guess, of caterers. So that is the new thing.
That's the new thing. That's the new thing. And I'll just add 20% at the top of that and say, there's yours. Sir.
You mentioned how extensive is your video library right now, and how long have you been putting that together?
Yeah,
and do you consider that to be a basic asset of your business?
Yeah. So I've had a podcast for 5 or 6 years, maybe longer. I've probably done 500 episodes. It's called the No BS Sales School Podcast. It's free. Just started putting it on YouTube. I just hired somebody a couple of months ago to help me kind of make it more suitable for YouTube. I probably, on the video platform, I don't have that much yet. We're getting ready to put up more. I didn't really have a video plan, but we're starting to work on that now. I think it's very helpful. The more ways that people can find you, usually when I end up talking to somebody, they've listened to my podcast, somebody's mentioned my name, they've accidentally clicked on me on LinkedIn and saw something I posted, and then they reach out and go, hey, can you talk to me? So if you're thinking about your marketing strategy, sometimes it takes people up to 12 touches in a year to even know you're alive, to see your billboard, meet you in person, maybe they get a phone call from you, something else, and then they go, oh, I'll call that guy. So the more kind of things. So I have a podcast. I post on LinkedIn prolifically. If you want to get some of my stuff for free, Walker McKay on LinkedIn. Happy to reach out, ask to connect. I'm happy to connect with you. Tell me you met me here. That would be helpful. So what else? Yes, ma'am.
So, really quickly, I know you do mostly B2B, right?
Yeah, mostly.
So, how is B2B? In what ways would you say B2B is similar to B2C, if any ways?
So all sales, no matter what you sell, my belief is the essence of it is having somebody trust you enough to give you money to make a problem go away. Trust you enough, give you money to make a problem go away. So B2C, I don't do B2C typically because I teach the psychology of selling and why people buy, and I go pretty deep into that, and I feel like it could be used for evil on business to consumer.
But it's,
Well,
let me piggyback real quick. But the mistake is actually forgetting in B2B that there's a human being at
100%.
transaction.
It is human to human.
We think that person with the title has no emotions or feelings.
Nope.
When they have a ton of them, they're driven by fear, ego, insecurity. I've got to make a good purchase if I'm buying something for $1.5, $2 million. I've got to justify that or lose my job.
Right.
Yeah.
And we don't sell it like that though. We sell it like they have no emotion.
A lot of sales, and people buy emotionally. I don't care what they do buy emotionally, then they have to justify it intellectually.
Yeah.
They've got to be able to say, it's basically CYA. They got to say it. And here's why I did. So then you got some logical reasons why. Right? So it's important. Yes?
I have one more question.
Yes, ma'am.
Which you think is more difficult, in your opinion, B2C or B2B?
I think it depends on the what you're selling. Some, I think, typically B2C is smaller sales, typically smaller purchases, except for houses, right? Houses are very expensive, but typically it's smaller sales, smaller fees. If I'm going to sell something on commission, I want to sell something that's expensive. Because I can get 10% of $100, or I can get 10% of $1 million. Where do you think I want to spend my time? I want to sell something that's expensive so that I can get a higher fee. All we have is our time. You disagree with that, sounds like.
No, I'm
So,
Kenny? With a first time question.
Based on where you are now at
Yeah.
60
yeah,
$1 million,
yeah.
750, 500.
This year I will break $1 million in revenue. And that's a big deal for me. I wrote my children a letter just to thank them for putting up with all the crap they had to go through. I gave my older son, I don't remember the context, but for his birthday, his 16th birthday, I gave him a broom. He's kind of a clean freak. I had $9. I bought him a broom for his birthday. That's the most embarrassing thing that's ever happened to me. But I wanted to give him something. I bought him a damn broom. I've never said that out loud. I didn't have the money. It was tough.
Good to see you grow.
Oh my God. It's so you ask me, why do I stick my chest out? Because I know I believe, if I lost everything tomorrow, I know what it takes to get it back. Yes.
What's your best approach when you say our business to business team? They're facing this problem when they get to the doctor, great, they're happy to see us, they sit down with them, but the problem is the gatekeeper.
Yeah.
We
should probably talk offline. That's a longer conversation, if that's okay. Yes, sir.
I just want you to finish those other two.
Yeah. So one of them was the hero versus the guide, and the third one, and I think this is super important too, is equal business stature.
I'm talking about the mindset thing.
Yes, I want us to realize we have equal business stature with every single person we deal with. Yes, sir.
Could you summarize those four quickly?
Number one is you're not the right fit for everybody. Number two is ask, don't tell. Number three is you have equal business stature with everybody you deal with. I'll talk about that in a second. And number four is be the guide, not the hero.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
So the equal business stature means anybody you call on, you're at the same level. You have just as much right to disqualify them, to ask anything you need to know, to walk away from any situation, anything that's not in your favor. You have just as much right to set the rules for the meeting as they do. And it comes down to, and this is a cultural thing sometimes, I want you to call every single prospect that you have, every client you have, by their first name. When you call somebody, and I understand we've grown up sometimes a different way, and our mamas taught us you got to call people that are older, Mr. and Mrs. If you got to do that, you got to do that. I would say keep that social. If this is a business transaction, everybody by their first name. Why do you think I'd say that?
Equal level.
Equal level. It's when I get a phone call and somebody says, "Oh, Mr. McKay, I know I'm dealing with a chump." Right? I know I'm dealing with somebody who sees themselves as lower than me. That's crazy. We're all the same. God made us the same.
Do you have time for
You may ask a final question?
Yeah, you can jump right in, Mr. Tom.
Final question.
Sir.
What can 1 million cups do for you?
Thank you. This is fun. I love speaking to groups. So what y'all can do for me is if you know somebody who is committed to being better, that is driven to be better, and has some money they can invest in themselves. I've got different programs for different people. But have them reach out to me. Another thing you can do is go to my LinkedIn page, follow me on LinkedIn, and comment on my posts. So that's free. And that goes in your feed, and it shares my feed. I love that stuff. Go to my podcast, share it with somebody else that needs to hear the message. Those kind of things. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. Walker McKay. Those are tremendous. Share that with anybody that you think needs to hear it. One more, I don't know if this was appropriate or not. I brought some of my books. My book is called Some Will, Some Won't, So What, Who's Next? Some will, some won't, so what, who's next? Sell it to you for $20. I got Venmo you can use. Cash is great. If anybody wants one, happy to do that. Yes, sir.
I just said I want a book. Sorry.
Okay, good. I'll be here for a few minutes after. All right.
All right, well, thank you, everybody. We have room for about 10:30 or later.
We got it till 12.
Okay, so I'll let you have some opportunities to have some one-on-one with
Thank you. All great.
Thank you, you little swag.
What a fast. I love this. Thank you. Thank you, guys. I'll be up here if you have questions. Okay.
Into the books. I can't draw. Yeah, that's a good thing, right? I almost didn't think
That topic or that saying.
Let's move on. Item number 7.
Which is what I know everyone from objections.
you're training?
Because the minute they say no,
Move on. Oh, yeah. That's law and large limits, huh?
well, thank you, because I was looking for, I just, if you've done it as often as oh my God, I've been waiting for you to come along to show this to me very beginning. When you know what that looks like, you don't have time for that other. The right thing to do is they will, I mean, the same thing with everyone.
What he was saying. You've learned through your experience to identify that quickly and move on, and that is a gift. I know I have.
You've been around this long, doesn't mean you refine it too.
I've been guilty of trying to hold on to somebody I should let go.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Honey, you can say the warm-ups going off some of mine. And another big mistake a lot of people do is seeing the attention of other people and trying to sell by emerging. What do you do?
How are you this morning, young man? How are you this morning? We came in, everybody running around all over the place. So good to have you. Small business. Most of my clients have between $10 and $20 million. We get bills for a lot of different things that are fixed expenses, right? So shipping, waste, credit card fees, phones, internet, cell phones, and it's like the bottom 10% of expenses that just make them pay. We manage that for less. So on average, we save our clients 30%. So your $100 million company, 10% of your expenses is $10 million, like you say, $3 million. Now for them, $3 million is really just a round number in their overall budget. But if I can say, whatever it is that we manage, we take on for full support. So if they've got some type of internet goes down, the phone goes out, everybody looks at them. Now they just point to me. A lot of them are willing to pay me the money just to be able to point to me. And so we handle it. So at scale, with knowledge, because it's all we do. I mean, most people negotiate their contract with waste management once every 5 years. And they hate it doing it once every 5 years. So we do it every day. It's a real easy conversation with us. One day the everybody's like, hey, you got a moment after this? Same as we did for the other client. Okay, great. And, they're like, well, no, we can't do that. Like, all right, we'll pull up these other account numbers. What did you get? Like, oh, you got it. So it's all this. I'm not the best salesman. Certainly not the smartest person in the room. But I do have a database of 33,000 clients that we can fall back on. When you look at what you're doing and what you do,
selling has a different definition of organization. You're providing comfort. You know, to folks. So it's you might argue same thing happens. Yeah, we bought a car last week. Not this past weekend, but bought a Honda. Replacement car. The classic example of that is a Honda dealership, because everybody knows people put used car salesmen and garbage collectors down at the bottom of the respect for them. Dealership up in Virginia do this, and they implement the policy. You came in the front door of the dealership, a little round, 3-inch round stick on, and you put your name on it. And as long as you have this car right there, you walk around here and tell them you're the hard. They would not come up to you until you took it off. When you take it off and hold it up, then you're fair game. Right? But as long as you hand it over, they were trying to
The steak places that are green and red, right? It's like, all right, flip it over right now. Let's go.
providing that protection zone.
Yeah.
Like when I went to work for someone, they could make it from the desk, you know, the desk to the front of the desk, to attack their customers. One of my favorite stories, because you know, I'm old, so I'm looking back now. I first got a gift in the early 90s. So, it's like you met with tell us where your pictures come from. So when you asked it, what you like? I'm like, I told you once with everything. I was like, I can't even imagine how this some people don't like that. Tell somebody
when I'm in my car, I don't want to. When I first started, I had the sign on my car. But yeah, I'm driving airplanes or visiting a client or whatever. I drive that.
Yeah, well, I mean, depending on what you're selling, I worked with a guy that did software sales for a company called Rico.
When I say my name, people say, oh, the little
he was just completely blind to the prospect of saying that
it was going to go somewhere to fix it.
He wasn't a hero. He was just an idiot. Whatever they could was bounced off. And I remember talking after he had walked out. I remember talking to one of his prospects, clients, and he said, I know 6 months before he started coming around, and I know he won't leave until I sign the paperwork. So I'm trying to sign the paperwork. Like it was a necessary evil.
And then most of the time, used to say that, you know, some prospects just I want to go away. I think that might have been so he would never come back.
That's the cheapest way to make it.
You know,
Most people should have. Why does it finesse and practice, kind of experience.
20 or 30 years to get it right in some cases.
And they just know it all.
And so you got to decide, do you want that kind or do you want more of a soft sell? You got to decide. But the other thing is, even when you start, people got to know how to do it. Because they'll cut out all we want some commission, right? And they not saying that. And so I like people also.
Zig Ziglar. Well, no, but he used to say that one way to express selling is that
so you know,
if I can get you as excited about my product as I am, then you're going to buy it. If I can get you to love truck moves as much as I love truck moves, you're going
most people, you know what I'm saying? They're walking in there, they got knee surgery, they got medical, they got
but this guy
never let it get past the door, right? Never let it get past the knee, you know? Arm right at the entrance of the store. Because I know from here, if I keep them closed until they get to the back of the store, they can even put the $15 joint or something. By the time they get there, and when people close away,
you can't put a prize on that? Yeah, as long as it works, $106 is a deal.
all day long. All day long. And what I love is the telltale sign. You know, they'll just sit there and they're not going on. Where is it? They're doing calisthenics at the top of the register because when they talk themselves on shorts and then they say, I'm gonna go home and see if it keeps working.
But my point though is,
She said never
so I actually, let's go. I've been distraught for 3 years, and I've decided that I want to take certain products outside of the store. And no one can see me because so I'm going in as a
What's the result of
nutritional products.
I didn't eat in front of him.
Whenever there's a meat, they all come in and they look at me and say, we're all getting old and you're not the 70s. And I said, I'm not going to tell you.
Whereas I go like this.
You all accused me of being heartless when I tried to study MLM nutrition and said you're making money. I said I never forgot those.
I'm looking at
That's what we got. So we do a lot of training, things like that. So we have a literacy company, we help with the person